Good evening. This is CTV News for Thursday, August 30th. I'm Janine Samuels.
And I'm Patricia Malone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, across the nation, hundreds of tons of waste that people thought they were recycling is piling up in processing plants or being dumped into landfills. According to a new Reuters report, it's all due to a recent decision in China to stop buying American garbage. This morning, CTV got a first-hand look at whether that decision in the Far East is affecting recycled commodities here locally.
Problem here in the U.S.?
Oh, there's a big impact on local governments throughout the country and throughout the world. So it's definitely been a tougher time. We've definitely seen a decrease in revenues.
Recycling. It's all about cleaning up and repurposing your throwaway items. But that only works if there's a market for the recycled items. For years, China has been buying up our old products and turning them into new raw materials. But last year, the country decided to ban imports of 24 varieties of trash.
So China has decided to be a little pickier about the recycling material because a lot of the material that's been coming out of the United States has been contaminated a little bit. It hasn't been pure enough. So that's resulted in the prices coming down, particularly on paper and some plastics.
Plastic, cans, and paper come single-stream together here at the Prince George's Materials Recycling Facility. They're then sorted and baled to be later sold as a commodity. But China's new ban and fierce competition at market have forced the facility to find better ways to create a less contaminated product at the end of the assembly line.
For example, if it's an aluminum bale, if there's anything other than aluminum in the bale, they would consider that contamination. On a paper bale, if there's anything in there other than mixed paper, they would consider that contamination, whether it would be food waste or plastic or glass.
Environmental officials say the ideal situation is to keep contaminants out of the waste stream in the first place.
It's one of those nights you just don't feel like cooking, so you order pizza to be delivered at home. Well, this cardboard box seems like it's perfect for recycling, but wait, make sure that there's no grease on the inside or it could damage this entire bale for later recycling.
For our cardboard bales, we wouldn't want to see food or grease-soiled pizza boxes or things like that. You can do pizza boxes as long as you rip off the part that has the food and the grease. Other items that contaminate our waste stream are car parts, which can at some point be recycled, but not here through our facility. Rigid plastics and things we do accept at our Brown Station Road Convenience Center and our Missouri Avenue Center, but not here because they create a problem for our equipment and our services.
To protect the integrity of the product, the facility recently invested in new balers, and the system now runs materials twice through the system to prevent impurities.
And the Department of the Environment wants to remind residents to never put plastic bags or styrofoam into your recycling bins. However, plastic bags can be recycled at many grocery stores. Now, according to a study in the journal Science Advances, China bought half of all U.S. scrap last year and has recycled 72% of all of the world's plastic since 1992.
With students heading back to school next Tuesday, it's time that drivers and pedestrians brush up on the rules of the road. Everything from how far to stop behind a bus to when to use a crosswalk is important to know. CTV's Katara Jones is in Bladensburg with more.
5 days, students will be heading back to class. That means motorists can expect to see more school buses on the roadways and more students walking to school. So today, officials want to encourage motorists to look up and look out.
Just in time for back to school week, officials launched the Look Up and Look Out initiative. The purpose is to get all motorists, parents, and students ready to make safer choices on the road.
Back to school means back to business for many of us across the state. Summer vacations have ended, and now traffic will increase. Not just vehicular traffic, but school children will be out navigating our roadways and crossing busy roads. And as we do every year, we need to talk to them and talk to everyone about safe practices and pedestrian safety.
Last year in Maryland, 257 students were injured during school arrival and dismissal time.
What would happen if you were to hit a child walking to this school, crossing this busy street, Annapolis Road, at that speed? And yet, it happens thousands of times each day in the state of Maryland. Fortunately, we have speed cameras in school zones in Prince George's County, as we do throughout the state.
Police want to also remind drivers to stop 20 feet behind a school bus. Sergeant Joel Benjamin says if motorists break the law, they can get hit with a hefty fine.
Well, the rules is 20 feet behind the school bus, you need to stop, okay? You need to adhere to the amber lights, the yellow flashing lights, meaning that the red lights are about to come on. That doesn't mean to speed up and get past the school bus. It means to get ready to stop. Okay, like I said earlier, regardless if you're within the 20 feet, that doesn't mean, oh, I missed the threshold, let me speed by. No, you will get stopped and you will get that $570 fine that it is assessed.
So when you see this pedestrian walk sign, it's important that drivers stay alert. There could be students walking across the street to get to class. Reporting in Bladensburg, Katara Jones, CTV News.
Students will head back to school Tuesday, September 4th.
Well, he took their money and promised to help to help them keep their homes. Now he's going to jail, and Paul Randall has pleaded guilty to violating the Protection of Homeowners in Foreclosure Act. He also admitted to practicing law without a license. According to the state's attorney's office, the homeowners still lost their property. Randall was sentenced to 3 years behind bars, followed by 5 years of probation. He was also ordered to pay restitution to his 5 victims.
The wife of fallen Baltimore detective Sean Suter is speaking out about his death. Nicole Suter told the Baltimore Sun that it is a, quote, murder being covered up, adding that she has the same views as the community. Suter was doing a follow-up investigation on a homicide when he was shot in West Baltimore last November. An independent panel recently released a report earlier this week indicating that it was a suicide. Suter died the day before he was scheduled to testify to a grand jury having to do with a corruption case against a police officer. Suter had 5 children. Inmates in Maryland won't be allowed to get visitors or mail as of today. This is a precautionary step after workers and inmates at facilities in Ohio and Pennsylvania showed signs of opioid exposure. While there hasn't been a similar incident in Maryland, officials have decided to be proactive. However, prisoners will be able to get visits from their attorneys and receive legal mail. There is no word on when the suspension will be lifted. Well, you're watching CTV News. I'm Janine Samuels.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.